There we go.
How are we doing?
Can you see me okay?
I can, yeah, perfect.
Amazing. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet yourself. So, welcome along to the Southern Roots Honky Tonk.
Thank you
Um,
very much. Loving the background.
got to try and keep it real. So, you're one half of Leave This Town.
That is absolutely correct. Yeah, me and Tom is my other half in the act.
So, what are you, because you're relatively new to the country scene here in the UK. What is your kind of background? What's the story behind you, and how did you get to where you are?
Well, I mean, me and Tom met like many years ago, basically. We were both in not like rival bands, but we were both in bands that were doing things around like the Bristol and Southwest sort of music scene. Tom was in a great sort of like indie synth band and had a big part in that as a drummer and writer. And I was in a few other bands, sort of doing rock and alternative rock and some pop punk sort of stuff. And bands sort of go through different members, and it ended up being that me and Tom were in the same band for a little while, and we really enjoyed playing with each other then. And then we sort of, that sort of fizzled out. We both went on to do our own. Uh, I moved into doing slightly more focused on writing, and Tom started touring with a few other bands and doing more writing and production. And we just kind of came to leave this town quite organically. Tom had been writing some country style, just instrumental pieces.
Yeah.
And I I just went around just to hang out one day, really. And he said, I've been intrigued to see how your voice sounds on this. And I said, great, let's give it a go. And that first one was Retrograde.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Sorry. So, where did the name Leave This Town come from? Because it's you've kept it all as one word, and it always seems to be in capitals.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just Tom's style, really. I think it was Tom. Tom came up with the name suggestion. I won't. I'm not even going to tell you any of them because I'm still embarrassed by them. But I've got a track record for bad band names. So when Tom came up with Leave Town, it just immediately felt like it fit. It felt like it was the right fit for obviously the right fit for the genre, but it felt like it was the right fit for the type of sort of country pop rock sound that we were
Yeah.
making. And yeah, it just felt right. To be honest, couldn't quite believe that it wasn't already taken. And I think it just snapped it up. It just felt
Yeah.
like it was a good fit.
The only kind of reference I could find was Adultery album.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm happy to take that sort of association. That guy's got a great voice.
So, what was it necessarily about country? I mean, I know you're kind of on that boundary, like it's country. There's a bit of a pop element to it as well. What was kind of the pull to country?
Well, I think so. Tom's partner is Canadian, and so she obviously grew up listening to loads of country. And I think when they got together, Tom just started listening to more and more. They'd be in the car, they'd be listening to just loads of country playlists. And I think it just got into Tom's bones in the same way that I'm sure it got into all of our sort of bones. It's in our blood, really. It's I don't know. It's sort of somewhat timeless, isn't it? Even though it's had a real peak recently with whoever Post Malone or Beyonce, like these mega stars. So yeah, it's it's sort of timeless, and yeah. So I think Tom, just because he is a true writer and producer and a true sort of multi instrumentalist, he just started putting together these instrumental contracts, and yeah, they sort of became the first three or four tracks that we started together. For me, I my parents were into it basically. So my parents were into a lot of the 70s singer-songwriters. So James Taylor and Carole King and Carly Simon and Joni Mitchell. But also we went through like a long Garth Brooks phase and a bit of Vince Gill and the Dixie Chicks. And I mean, as a kid, Garth Brooks was just like the ultimate entertainment, really. Just amazing songs, amazing, rich narrative songs that are really fun, like amazing musicianship. And yeah, though, like that sort of got into my veins, really. I think that's what sort of ignited my love of songwriting. And I think it took me years really I tried all the other things, being in bands and everything. And it took me a few years to actually realize that that was like the kernel of what I
Yeah.
loved in music, was writing music. I mean, obviously we both love performing music too, but writing is like it's like a real rush.
It is. And you're based down in the Cotswolds. How
Absolutely,
how are
absolutely.
you finding the UK country scene?
Well, so far, uh, it's everyone's been really sweet and welcoming. We've had really, really lovely support from, lots of people like reaching out on TikTok and just being very kind and supportive about what we've been putting out so far. And we've had, we feel sort of like we're sort of really raring to go. We're sort of writing our first album of music at the moment, and we've got these three original tracks out, and we've got one cover that we released recently. And we've had offers to come and play shows. We would love to start playing out, and you know, the songs were really written to be played live. But just with the four songs, I don't feel like we can really deliver on that at the moment. But so far, we found just you know, people like yourself in the industry and people who have found us on TikTok to just be so supportive and kind and yeah, just seem to be excited about more country music.
Because I must admit, I came across you quite a bit of time ago on TikTok, and it felt like
I
forever you were teasing music before you actually dropped anything. And it was kind of like when you're sitting and you've got a radio station and stuff, and you're looking for these songs to play on the radio because
mm,
they're
mm.
obviously impacting on you. And when you're like, have they released it yet? Haven't they released it yet? Where is it? You know what I mean? Was that subconsciously or
No, this is all Tom's very careful, dedicated planning. Sort of Tom's really good at like spotting when we've been tracking a song, for example. Tom was very good at spotting little snippets that he can isolate, maybe just the vocals and a lap steel sort of sound, or just the vocals and a fiddle, something like that, to start teasing with. And yeah, this isn't Tom's first rodeo. He's good at sort of generating that sort of anticipation for a track. And luckily, so far, we seem to have met people's expectations with the tracks that we've released. It hasn't been, teasing and then people are like, oh, skip that one.
I mean, for a new group, you have hit the ground running because you get an average of 5,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
I know. Yeah, it's
You know,
it's crazy.
I know people that have been in the game 10 years and still struggling to get numbers. How
Really.
does that make you feel?
I mean, amazing. It's amazing. Like I said, we've been sort of overwhelmed by the support. Obviously, Tom's like an amazing producer. He's really paid his dues as a musician and producer, and he's got a fantastic ear for it. And I like to think that I've got quite a good ear for, some catchy hooks and sort of relatable lines. And you put this stuff out with the hopes that it'll like reach someone or resonate with people, but you also fully expect. I mean, we've both been in acts before and kind of been the driving force between different bands, and you put stuff out and nothing. There's no response, and you go years and you get like 50 views on your YouTube. The release of the video, that sort of thing, and that's fine. But obviously, you hope for more. You hope it kind of. I mean, we I don't know how we managed this. I've honestly never seen this before. But on the first track that we released on Retrograde, it got added to the oh my god, I've forgotten the name of the playlist now. But it got added. It got added to an editorial Spotify playlist with all these other huge artists.
Yeah.
So that just gave us this initial kick that we never could have anticipated. And that just the plays on that just went through the roof immediately. And we were able to see that we've been add all these other playlists, and yeah, the listeners just started rolling in. And that was, yeah, that sort of is immediate gratification, or like validation, really. This thing you've just started is being acknowledged by someone who kind of curates country playlists, and they think
Yeah.
it's worth something. So that was amazing.
Well, I mean, because I mean, you touched on it slightly earlier about the country scene and being new into it. But like you say, you're new into it, and there's this kind of media thing that country's only been popular for the last couple of years. Um, I've been into country for the last 30, and to be honest, it's the same as it was back then. It's just more relevant because all of a sudden TikTok has made it more accessible, and you've
Yeah,
had these people come through social media that maybe wouldn't have made it if they'd gone to Nashville, you know, your Morgan Wallens and all this. But did that make you a little bit more anxious coming into the kind of country scene at this point when it is at such a pinnacle in the media side of things?
I think it's there's kind of like two sides to it. I think there is a fear when we're going in. I mean, I should say everything that we've done, we sort of did it just because we love making music, we love
Yeah,
working together. So even if nothing came of it, then that's fine, because we've sort of made something that we love and we had a good time. But there is, like, when you're going to something, it's like, is this too saturated? Will anyone, how the hell will anyone find our little tracks in a sea of, infinite and quality country music? Um, but also, I sort of feel like the music industry sort of pyramid has kind of like flattened out over the last 20 years. And our ability to put our stuff out and reach fans is like that wasn't really doable. Like, I was in bands back in the days of like MySpace,
yeah,
and I used to stick, sort of reaching out to people on MySpace and getting them to listen to our music, and that was it. Basically, there wasn't really anything else. You could get added to, you could get picked up by popular music blogs at the
yeah,
time, but it was all very, very early on. There wasn't really any means of yeah, any way to take it from there other than getting signed. So this feels like it's been slightly more democratized in terms of what we can do, who we can reach, which is
yeah.
exciting.
And it's an exciting time to be an independent artist as well, because there's a lot of bigger names that are coming onto the independent side of it so that they can have more of that creative control of their music. Is that quite important to you guys as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think we've sort of, we've had people reach out to us and sort of ask, how they could be involved, and at the moment it feels like we we're really loving what we're doing, and we feel untethered, and we can kind of turn our sights wherever we want next in terms of the style of the next single and whatever we sort of feel when we're writing music. And there may be a time where having a single get signed or something like that could be relevant or really help out in terms of the support that we get
Yeah,
through it. But no, we really, really we cherish like being able to be independent and kind of do things ourselves. And so far it seems to be working. There's not really a gap, we think, having some company or promoter or whatever coming in would really help with. But obviously we're super, super, super early days. So yeah, but yeah, it feels empowering to be independent at the moment.
yeah. And we'll touch on that. Your first single was Retrograde. Now, when you look at the news, this track is more relevant than ever, really. Kind of, we spoke there about looking back at life when it was a lot more easier and there wasn't as much of all this social side to life. Um, and especially, like I say, when you listen to the news, it's probably more relative now than when you released it a few months ago.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think retrograde, it feels like a maybe if maybe not if you're much younger, because you've sort of got that real optimism. But I think if you've been through your 20s, like I'm in my 30s, and I think from that age onwards, like the feeling of retrograde is quite universal, because you we all start with a vision of how our life will be,
Yeah.
and not it's not necessarily like a bad thing that things don't turn out how you dreamt that they would, but often they don't turn out like how you dreamt that they would. And it's like a slightly awkward, weird part of growing up is kind of like making peace with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, this kind of came from a feeling of like, those nights that you have like lying awake, like imagining, those sliding doors moments, like where things could have gone based on different decisions. And yeah, that felt like quite a universal feeling.
It is, and it's a great track. And I'm only 46. I say that because I feel younger than I am. But then I had a conversation with my son, who's 17, and tried to explain to him that Google didn't exist when I was his age. Mobile phones had just started, and Facebook was called Friends Reunited. So,
it's I was chatting with some friends the other day about the implications of this social media ban for under 16s. And, we didn't have social media
you know,
like growing up. There wasn't anything. Like I said, that the first thing that we got our hands on was MySpace. And obviously, I had to be at my dad's computer to access that.
yeah,
And I had a crappy little, like a dumb phone, and we were happy. We didn't. I didn't long for being constantly tethered to something like TikTok.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah. How did your son take to that? Was he was he receptive to the idea?
They just can't understand it because it's obviously they've grown up with it. I mean, like you
Yeah.
say, I remember my dad yelling at me to get off the internet because he was wanting to use the phone. And I was one of the eldest in my year group, and at 18, I bought my first mobile phone on the Orange network. It was a Motorola StarTAC. I'll never forget it. And I don't know
Nice,
why I bought it
nice.
because none of my friends had phones. So,
Maybe that's the dream, right? For I suppose this generation who we worry are like corrupted by mobile phones.
yeah,
If we can make it tricky, like if you get them all off social media, the one that's left that's got it, what are you doing on it? Who are you
this
gonna
is
talk
it.
to? Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
it's scary because your presence on social media can make you or break you nowadays.
yeah,
Having
yeah,
to be so careful what you're doing. Where back then we just didn't have to worry about that.
yeah.
It would be gossip in the playground for a little bit, then it was kind of gone.
Yeah, well, you get to go home at the end of the day, right? And it doesn't
Yeah, and
sort of
shut
follow you
off.
there.
And
Yeah, yeah,
but we're going to come to your latest track
great.
now. It's a well-known song. We all know it. Probably the majority of the younger listeners will only know it from Darius Rucker.
Yep, yep. I
But
think that's
of
true.
course, it was the Old Crow Medicine Show done it, and it was a completely different version to what Darius done. And then you guys dropped it, and it's another version completely again.
Well, thank you for saying that. Yeah, and it was Bob Dylan first. I'm sure
Yeah,
you know that sort of like this quite janky, unfinished live demo, really. But yeah, Tom heard the Darius Rucker version first, I think, when it was just on the radio when he was visiting partner's family in Canada, and I think just immediately thought, yeah, this would make an amazing cover, and immediately knew, like in his head, how it would sound with kind of like our touch on it, really, because a lot of them, they have this kind of like rootin' tootin's kind of swung vibe to it,
yeah.
which is a big part of the character of the song for those guys. But yeah, I think we wanted to do one that felt like a less swung modern country version of it. And I think it changes the vibe in a way that kind of is really in line with the rest of our tracks.
Oh, absolutely. But it's one of them iconic songs that it gets to the point where country fans either like it or hate it.
Yeah.
So to pick that as your first song you're going to release as a cover, but I mean we've spun it several times over our station, and we always get good feedback from it. And the feedback's always they like the fact that you didn't try and cover the song. Yes, it's
Yeah.
the same lyrics, but you even the way you sing it's kind of changed the whole aspect of the song. So you can't compare it to the other one because I think it's slightly better, but it's each of their own. I mean, was that a major focus for you that you didn't want it to sound exactly like the others have done it?
Yeah, very much so. I think actually when Tom first suggested it, I went straight onto Spotify and Apple Music and I searched for the other cover versions of it. And no one had done it quite like Tom was proposing that we did it. They all had the same kind of tempo and it was still swung in the same way, same sort of instrumentation. And I think I think we just knew that if we stripped it back a little bit, used our sort of the instrumentation that we've been using for the rest of our tracks, and then yeah, layered it up with some really lovely harmonies, it could be its own thing. I mean, and also, but I don't know. I think it's a ballsy move to try and cover it in the same way that, let's say like Darius Rucker had done it, because like you said, that song is like ubiquitous. It's like almost like part of the furniture
Yeah.
in the last sort of 20, maybe 25 years for country music and country radio. So yeah, I think we had to sort of do it this way.
Because I mean, I know if you go to Nashville and you go down Broadway, it's played nearly in every single bar in Broadway, but everyone sings it the way Darius does,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's refreshing when especially when you work in radio and we play these songs a lot, especially on the live shows when we've got people asking for songs, and it's refreshing to have a different version to play again. So you
I'm
can kind of
glad. I'm glad. Hey, well, Steve, we're happy for you to keep on playing our version as much as you like.
Oh, it's not just me. The other presenters are adding it in as well. It's a great team
Yeah.
effort. That's one of the lovely things about Southern Roots is we're a completely independent station,
Mhm.
so we pick and choose what we want to play. All our presenters are country music fans first and foremost.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
all volunteers, and apart from obviously explicitives they can't play, I give them complete 100% say in what their show's like. And
Nice,
it's
nice.
amazing. You can listen to four shows on the same day, and they've maybe got three or four songs that are all the same, but the style of presenting it and the information people are giving about them, it comes across different. But it is one of the most requested songs at the moment coming out of the UK. So you're doing something right.
That's what we love to hear. Amazing.
So we spoke earlier about your numbers on Spotify, which obviously you try not to get bothered by numbers all the time because it's a dangerous game. It's a bit like the old losing weight and getting obsessed with the scale. But how do you feel your reaction's been to your music? Is it like you say? Have you had any negativity to it? Do you find any of the other names that are in the UK scene are kind of like what you're bringing because it's been kind of dominated by like 10 people for the past 10 years in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, no, unless I've been shielded from them. I feel like the the response has just been really sweet and really positive. And uh I mean, I sort of for many years I was like the driving force behind a couple of bands, and I really, really paid attention to the numbers
Yeah,
then. So because we kind of went into this with no expectations, I've been trying to not check the numbers on a regular basis because it does creep into your psyche. It does kind of creep into how you think about your music or what it is you want to do next. There's risk that if something does really well, you feel pulled towards doing that thing more,
yeah,
and that might, deprive you of doing something different that you might have done next instead. So I do sort of try and avoid it a little bit, but Tom will send me like a screenshot of the what is it, like the artist side, like the back end of our
yeah,
Spotify page, and show me that it's just been added to 100 new playlists, or there's a spike in sort of interest for a particular song, and it it's mad. It feels crazy. It's sort of like it takes on a life of its own because that's not really in response to us doing some particular promotional thing. We're promoting it quite consistently, each of the tracks, but sometimes some little corner of TikTok finds it and someone with a bigger following shares it, and then those people start like
yeah.
reposting it too. And yeah, there's this like organic growth where things just suddenly bloom in these different pockets of the internet. And you know, it wasn't anything to do with us. It's just really, really fun to see it take on a life like that.
But this is what I say: organic growth is far better than pushing it too fast, trying to push something. But you mentioned there you're working on an album. When are we likely to see that drop?
Hopefully, sort of maybe mid 2027. It is 2026 now, isn't it?
It
Yes,
is.
yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. Sure. Yeah, I hopefully next year we've got probably the next sort of 4 tracks in the pipeline. We just finished writing the next single. Um, and we've got some other covers that we're sort of spying, and we're going to sort of see how we sound on those. But yeah, I think the plan is to just keep on releasing singles that we're really passionate about and slowly build this album. And then, like I said, when we feel confident that we've got like this nice body of songs that we can go out and play like a strong half-hour set or something, I think that's what we're working towards.
I mean, that was the next question. Obviously, we're desperate now to get to see you guys on the stage and
Thank you.
start doing the circuits, especially when you look at the likes of last weekend, country music made it to the Isle of Wight Festival, sorry, which is,
Nice.
it's changing all the time now. And that is the kind of the next step we want to see you kind of bring the show live to folk.
We would absolutely love to do that. I think it'll probably we'll probably scale it depending on how many songs we have or sort of like what shows we can get lined up. I think we've got a bit of flexibility where I think when we're playing live, we can do it with just Tom and I. But also we can pull in other players to make it
Yeah.
into, you know, the arrangement more accurate to how the songs are recorded. And that just makes it quite flexible, but also really exciting.
Well, we are hosting another main stage in Wokingham near Reading in August next year.
Okay,
Gives you
okay.
plenty of time to practice.
Maybe we can get ourselves a slot on that if we speak to the right people.
So, what has been the highlight so far since you got together?
What's been the highlight so far? For me, I mean, I'm not sure about, I won't speak for Tom. For me, I feel like writing Olivia was was like peak sort of songwriting, like that euphoria that you get when you make something from nothing. Basically, Tom had this instrumental piece that he had already just ready to go. We were finishing one session, and he said, "Oh, let me just play this other one before you go." And I could just immediately hear the vocal. I could immediately hear I could sort of imagine the song finished immediately. It just all came
Yeah.
together really quickly. Tom said, "I've got this little vocal line that kind of goes up, and I thought that could start just after the chorus starts." And he kind of like hummed it to me, and I was like, "Oh my god, what about if we moved that a little bit earlier, and then that kicks in just as the whole chorus kicks in?" And we quickly sort of did a quick demo, and then suddenly, I was about to leave the session beforehand, and he just played me this quick demo, and then we're immediately into writing the rest of Olivia, and the whole thing came together in about 15 minutes. And when that happens, there's like no other feeling like it. It feels like you're flying.
Yeah.
And that was also really comforting because I think we put out Retrograde and it was received really well, but you also sort of don't know if it's going to be just a one-off.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, writing Olivia just felt like amazing, and I think made us both think, okay, we could be onto something here.
I must admit, we speak to a lot of artists, and it's nice and refreshing when you see someone that's really enthusiastic, and it does come across, and it is refreshing that it's people are still doing this for the love of the music first and foremost. Um, we wish you all the best. Stay in touch with us. We will quite happily play your music as you drop it.
Thank you
So, for
so
the
much.
sake of the interview, I just want to say thank you for joining us in the Southern Roots Honky Tonk.
Thank you very much for
Um,
having us.
before we go up and get you to give us a quick liner, just saying,
Absolutely.
hey, this is Leave This Town, and you're listening to Southern Roots Radio.
Brilliant. Let me just get comfortable. Hi, this is Niall from Leave This Town, and you're listening to Southern Roots Radio.
Fantastic. And another thing we do is we ask all our interviewees, what are your three songs that you go to when you need Niall time? So when you need to either get in that frame of mind, whether it's to relax or to hype yourself up, it doesn't have to be necessarily country songs. What are the three that you turn to on your playlist?
Can I look at? I have a playlist for this. Do you
Yeah.
mind if I just look at it just as I'm sort of not, I always found this thing of like you draw a blank when someone asks you like what your favorite song is. I used to find it when I used to go into a guitar shop and I'd like ask the guy, can I play that one, please? And then he puts it in your hands, you sit down, and you cannot remember any
And
song you've ever learned on guitar. So when I try and like have a playlist or sort of stuff that feels like, I don't know, it sort of resonates with me on a like every now and again you
yeah,
find something that just cuts through. I'm going to say what am I going to say? I'm going to say from my sort of years of being in like alternative rock bands as like a teenager, like whenever I was writing music back then, as quite an emotional teenager, I should say. I was every time I sat down to write, I was essentially trying to write "Iris" by the Goo Goo Dolls, because that song sort of like connected with me so much as like an
yeah,
angst teenager. So that's probably one of my favorite songs. I know it's very trendy to like that song in the last sort of few years, but I was there. I was there for everyone else, if that counts for anything. Um, I would say my next track. There's a song called Dusty Trails. Are you familiar with Lucius?
I know the name. Yeah,
It's two amazing singers are the front women of the band, and they've got this, yeah, just this. I mean, you can find performances of them doing it on YouTube, and it's just an amazing, incredibly heartfelt, beautiful song about just how things going wrong kind of like form who you are on the journey.
yeah.
And it's just an incredibly beautiful piece of music. So that's Dusty Trails by Lucius. And then I'd probably go for Sweet Baby James by James Taylor, just because that's, I think, one of the earliest songs I can really remember like hearing that was just like a man and his acoustic guitar, a real focus on narrative and songcraft. And yeah, still gets me.
There we go. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Um,
you.
so this will go obviously on our website, socials. It'll go on Southern Roots Radio, but I also host a show based out of a radio station in Glasgow called Avondale Radio. We've got
Nice.
8,000 listeners a week, and we've got 300,000 a month listeners up there. So it'll go out on
Wow.
Saturday on there as well. But I'll tag you in the relevant posts. Um, so hitting you in
Amazing.
several different
Amazing.
directions.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for the support, Steve. We really
Well,
we really appreciate it. And I hope, even as the numbers grow, I hope that you'll have us back on and we
that's
can
what
chat
that's what
again.
I designed this platform for independent artists to have a space where they can have time on radio shows and promoted.
Well, that's like really meaningful and yeah, really exciting for us as like a new artist to
Yep.
get a chance to do this.
Well, we're always here for you. You got our details. Just drop us a line whenever you need anything.
Amazing. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Cheers,
I'll leave
Steve.
you with it. Thank you very much.
Bye, Steve. Thanks again.